Hoop Dreams was the blueprint for all the boys, man. Because when Hoop Dreams came out in '94, I was in middle school. So what I appreciate about Hoop Dreams and y'all journey is that y'all was the social media before social media. Y'all gave us an insight on how the process worked from a recruiting standpoint. A basketball player coming from the inner city, going to these suburbs, going to a bigger school, and all the politics that's involved. You know what I'm saying? But all the great things that was involved too.
Our
You know, when
moms,
you
the family.
all that, you know what I'm saying? And so all of us, Hoop Dreams was the culture. It really was. It was the culture. And so y'all gave us a lot of insight, especially cats who didn't have access to trainers or who ain't have access to how the process works. There you go. Just
Mm-hmm.
watch Hoop Dreams. And y'all, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart and what y'all did, man, and everything that y'all accomplished collectively, for real.
Hoop Dreams, the podcast, an Unlearning Network production.
The man joining us today is a Charlotte native. He graduated from the University of North Carolina. He's a Tar Heel. That's right. He's a Tar Heel. He's a basketball fanatic. And I'm talking about fanatic, entrepreneur, a model, and an actor. He is currently playing LA Lakers and Marquette legend, that I might add, Jim Jones, in the HBO sensational Winning Time. And we like to welcome to the show, and I'm going to get this name right. I promise you, Newt, I'm going to get it right. Newton Mayenge.
Yes, sir.
Man, welcome to the show. I'm Will Gates, and that's my dog.
Arthur Agee. What's up, Newton? How you doing, man? Appreciate you coming on.
Man, appreciate y'all having me, man. This is definitely a big pleasure and a big honor for me.
Oh, that's what's up, man. We love your work, man. Love you on the show, man. You doing your thing.
Absolutely, absolutely, man.
You know something? It's interesting when you can be an actor playing something that you grew up playing. I'm literally playing myself, so it's a blessing. Right. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's so interesting too to hear you say that, because I think from Agee and I's perspective, man, we was just living life. You know, we know that it was going to turn into the phenomenon that it has become, but because we was just trying to make it.
Yeah.
But we've been so blessed and so grateful, man, to see that it has helped so many people, because the question we always get, how was it with people following you all with a camera? And Agee can attest to this. We was just living. We were just living, you know?
Because I mean,
and I can see that. Y'all wasn't fazed by it. I can see that.
And the reason why we weren't fazed by it, because we thought wasn't nobody gonna ever see it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we never thought, we always thought, and it was told to us that it was going to be on PBS. And PBS is like a public broadcasting station. You know what I'm saying? They show educational things on there. And we never in a million years thought that the world, I mean, overseas, and people was like, it's really cross ethnicities, man. I'm talking about from white people to India people to Greek people, man. We get it all, man. Like, from, man, thank you, man. Thanks for showing that, man. We appreciate that. We like, damn, we wasn't doing nothing but just living.
So, Newt, before we jump into this sensational show you on Winning Time, talking about the rise of the LA Lakers, our show is a little bit different. We want to know your origin story. Take us back. Growing up in Charlotte in the late 70s and the 80s, what was your neighborhood like?
Well, you know, man, I was in like that lower middle class. You know, it was different coaches around, but at the same time, you know, as a black kid growing up, you had to watch your back a little bit. You know, you had to make sure you was doing the right thing, spoke the right way. So, you know, all my parents, they from the Congo, so I'm African. But I was, hence my last name, but I was born in the U.S. So I essentially grew up in two different cultures at the same time.
Wow.
So at the crib, So at the crib, I'm speaking Lingala, which is the African dialect that my family spoke. And then outside, I'm American, I'm speaking English. So it was kind of hard dynamic, because I was trying to find myself, because I was in both cultures at the same time. So I even changed my name for a little bit to Mayenge, to try to make it sound more American. You know what I'm saying? Even though
Right.
cats already knew. I mean, they looking at it like, yo, you ain't American. But you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I didn't have an accent. So, I grew up playing hoop. I played high school ball, went on to college, man. And once I got to college, I kind of, so I was at North Carolina Central, and I transferred to UNC. And after college, I went and played ball overseas. I got an opportunity to play in Germany. And so that was a great experience for me because now I got to see an insight on how the league is now, matter of fact, in hindsight. Because what the league is now is what it was over there when I was playing over there. But I played out there
Okay.
2 seasons, got into a car accident, which ended my career going into my 3rd season.
Wow.
And so that ended my career. I ended up having 4 knee surgeries, and I was like, man, what am I going to do now? So I ended up going back to school. I went to law school, and I did the MBA thing. And next thing you know, I moved out to LA, and people would ask me, man, are you an actor? The whole time I was going through my whole basketball journey, because my agent was in LA out here, and that's why I came to LA. Played in the summer pro league back in the day when it was at Long Beach State.
Okay.
And so I stayed out here, just to kind of figure out what I was going to do. Once again, people ask me, man, I seen you on TV. I'm like, man, I ain't never been on nobody's TV. Not that, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, let me see. Yeah. So I was like, let me see what this is. I took an acting class, loved it, and it gave me a similar passion playing ball. So then I just kind of transitioned my life to start playing ball. To start acting. And I was doing the modeling thing too. New York Fashion Week, Miami, Milan, all that stuff. It just kind of kept coming.
Wow.
And and then the crazy part is I was a sports agent too for a little bit in between all of that. So I did a lot of stuff, man.
A Renaissance man. Hey, Newton.
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this, man. How did you fall in love with the game? Like in middle school, like what was that? Was you playing all different sports, or
Well, I was a big Mike Jordan fan, man. Mike was God, like for everybody, really. You know what I'm saying? And so I just would watch him, man. And my brother and sister went to Carolina too, so I'm like, man, I want to be like Mike, like everybody. So I would watch his games, man. Everybody from that era back in the day. Even down to like Baby Jordan and all them cats. You remember Harold Miner and all them?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just everything I did was centered around basketball. That's why I connected with Hoop Dreams so much, because everything I did was centered around basketball. I did well in school to be on the team.
Wow.
It wasn't because I wanted to. It's because I wanted to play ball. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Who were some of the cats you had to play against? Did you grow up playing on the playground like we did?
Oh, yeah. I mean, over there back in the day, I grew up with a lot of cats. Most of them went overseas, so it wasn't like no big name cats. But when I got to Carolina, I was hooping against Jew Pepper and all them cats, Julius Peppers, Vince and them would come back. Who else would come back? Ed Coder, all them cats, man. Ed was in your class. I believe he was on McDonald's All-American team.
Yeah,
with you, Will. So I got a chance to play with Kenny Smith. Would come back. So I got a chance to play with them Carolina guys a lot, and that kind of helped me hone my skills a little bit. And George Lynch, who played in the league, he was my brother's roommate when he was at Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to do some stuff with him, and he hooked me up with his training. That's kind of how I just started my whole journey with the game of basketball, at least from a professional standpoint.
Wow.
Man, I wish we'd have known. We'd asked G. Lynch about you. We had him on the show, man. We definitely would have asked him about you.
Yeah.
That's my guy, man.
Man, but I got to ask you this, though, man. Agee, now we probably never really asked this, Agee, now that I think about it. But tell us your game. What was your game like? I mean, was you jump shot? What was your game?
So when I was younger, I was more of a 2-3, slash, throw the ball down, cutting, catch and shoot. So I went from like, if I got to put names on it, I went from like a Desmond Mason slashing, Desmond back in the day with the Sonics, to I became, and it's a big name to say, but I became similar to a Ray Allen with a catch and shoot, 1 dribble, 2 dribble pull up. I used a lot of footwork, that kind of stuff. But then when I turned pro, I became more marketable as a 1, because I'm 6'5", and I ended up I picked up some weight, so I got up to 225, and I learned how to play that one, and I had to change my whole thought process.
Wow.
And when I was playing overseas, I was a point guard, but I was a pass
So
first point guard.
this all I heard, Agee. All I heard him say was, I had hops and I could stroke that thing. That's what I heard.
Look, I don't even need no pump fakes, none of that. Just 1-2 dribble. I'm away from your ass and up.
That's right. That's all I heard. He's like, I had hops. He said, because I got the Desmond Mason, and he's doing the left hand leaners. And
so you really, when you got overseas, you was really like a big point guard.
I was a big point guard. Well, all right, let me rephrase. I was big as far as weight, but over there, them cats was, I was going against cats that was 6'7", 6'8" at the one, but they was lean, they was small with it.
Mm-hmm.
They won $190, so I pushed them around easy.
Right.
But that whole overseas game over there, at least back in that time, was it was a little soft, because as an American, you went over there, you barely touch somebody, it's a foul. But when they touch you, they put you on your butt, and then you look at them, where to call that ref, and they're like, nah, you American, so it's going the other way. So I had to get adjusted to that. Yeah, it was kind of different. It was real different.
Well, Hoop Dreams, it talked about our high schools, Tell us a bit about your high school and what the rival was. Was y'all a good team and all of that?
Honestly, our high school was above 500, so we wasn't the best, but we had a bunch of workhorses, man. So our rival was West Charlotte High School. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Mm-mm.
But and Independence won a couple of state championships in North Carolina, Independence High School.
Okay.
And they were so good that they played prep schools too.
Damn.
And they was real good. So we was always trying to catch them cats. And see, back then I played the 4. So
wow.
Yeah, because I was a late bloomer. I didn't have the handle. I didn't have none of that. So what I did is I stayed in the weight room because back then I was about 6'3" all through high school. I came in 10th grade 6'3", but I ain't had the trainers. I ain't had nobody coming to help me out. So you're a little bit taller and you can't handle the rock. They're gonna put you in the paint. Yep. So I just got stronger. I was squatting and benching all the time, so I wouldn't get pushed around. To overcompensate for the lack of height. So then,
how was it when you was playing that 4?
You know what? It was a little tough, but once I got strong, though, I could just pull. I could push bigs out the way, at least get them out of position. So it made it tougher for them because back then it was true bigs.
Yeah.
So if you push them off the block, they couldn't really do nothing on the outskirts, on the perimeter. Mm-hmm. So I had cats almost all the way on the wing sometimes.
Hey, I know they was like, damn, this short motherfucker strong. Like, damn, I know they like 6'10", 6'9", and shit. I'm like, no, damn, this motherfucker strong. Shit.
Yeah. So, but then I understood that if I needed to go somewhere on any kind of next level situation, I had to turn into a guard. So I literally just taught myself. And I ain't had no trainers. My peoples couldn't afford trainers like that because all my brothers and sisters in school at the same time. And
well,
so,
shit, it didn't matter. I get you was all the names you didn't drop, baby. Shit, you was testing your skills against them guys.
Mm-hmm. Man,
you know what I'm saying? The LA Summer League, man.
They used to indoctrinate me too, boy. I used to get it, but that's how I learned. You know how it is. You get I don't know if we can curse or nothing, but you get your butt.
You get your ass bust.
You get your ass bust enough times, then you're gonna start to say, I ain't gonna keep taking this, but you learn from it and see how you can get better at it. So that was my trainer right there, just hooping against cats who was way better than me.
Man, it's so interesting that you say that because we talk about that all the time. That folks are like, man, what did y'all do to work out? I said, we just played. We played. We got beat up. That was if the grown men on the court let you in the game, you arrived on some level. I don't know what level it was, but you arrived on some level. Yeah. But man, I wanted to ask you this: during your high school career, what was your recruiting like?
My recruiting wasn't that good. I only had a couple of schools that wanted me because, once again, I was undersized big at that time. And I wasn't a guard yet. So, and the high school, the recruiting situation, I wasn't at the best school from a recruiting standpoint. We were in coaching transitions. Mm-hmm. So they did the best they could, but they was volunteers for the most part. So that's why when I saw Hoop Dreams, that kind of gave me an idea of how it should look. So at a younger age, I started reaching out to my own schools. Mm-hmm. I started going to camps myself and start reaching out. Right. And so, I started looking for my own stuff because I didn't really have that help. And I didn't know what to do, right. And so recruiting, to be honest, I didn't really get heavily recruited out of college. Out of high school like that.
Wow.
So then you end up going to North Carolina Central. Did you play ball there?
So I was redshirted my first season, and then so what happened was I got redshirted. I did track that whole first season just to kind of stay in shape, get my hops right for the next level. And at that time, it was D2. So then my second season, they recruited a bunch of cats that was similar to me. So it was one of them situations, man. I was just kind of lost in the shuffle. And so I ended up transferring to Carolina, just finished off as a regular student. And then here we go. I still wanted to hoop. So George Lynch hooked me up with his trainer, Reginald Kitchen. I'll never forget that, man. He literally was a godsend for me because he used to
Really?
train. Yeah, he did a lot of NBA pre-draft workouts and stuff like that. And he was located in D.C. So every weekend, like Thursday to Sunday, I would literally drive all the way to D.C. from Charlotte, North Carolina, about 5-hour trip, and go play with him.
Damn.
We do three a days. So he have a bunch of overseas cats. He had some league cats that was getting prepared for the draft, and that was my way of getting in. And they was busting my ass. And then after a while, keep coming in month after month because I was going out there for 4-5 months. They was like, okay, Newt, you doing your thing. So then, he said, you need to get into more pro camps, see where you can get some more looks. Because essentially, I'm coming out of college with nothing.
Right. With
you know
nothing.
what I'm saying? Nope.
And you ain't on nobody's radar.
Nobody's radar. So I literally had to change my game, but he helped me start positioning and changing my game to a guard, to a point guard. And then, I played. So I did a couple camps, pro camps in different locations. Back in the day, Eurobasket was big on that. So I would literally just get on there, find a bunch of camps, pay for it out of my own pocket, and then I'm on a flight.
Wow.
For the love of the game. Went to the summer league, met my agent out there in Long Beach. And he was like, all right, man, I got a program I want you to work on, but you got to come out and move to California. So that's how I ended up in LA. Come to LA, we worked out for a whole year. Got some film from the summer league and some other leagues that I played out here. Played in the Drew League back in that time too.
Oh,
got some film, and then here we go.
That's the proving ground, right? That's the proving ground right there, baby. Drew League, shit.
Yeah. And then I got my butt kicked, but at that point, I had to catch up from all that time that I didn't have all that exposure on a college level, on a high school on a high school level. You know what I'm saying? I caught up in literally a year. But I wanted it. You know what I'm saying? I got my body. I was about 190. I got up to 225. So when I went overseas, I played second division in Germany in a city called Ulm. And then the second season after that, we moved up to the first division. And so I played out there 2 years, and I was right in the mix.
Damn.
Then I got into my car accident, and that's what ended my career.
That's a fucking amazing. That's some hard work shit, man, to get to your hoop dream like that, dog. Where you ain't on nobody's radar coming out of high school, and George Lynch hooked you up with his trainer, and you was like driving to DC and shit. That's the shit that we'll talk about, like people don't know and people don't hear about, to see you where you at now. Like I really wanted this shit.
Yeah. That's why once again I said Hoop Dreams was literally, that was iconic for me because y'all helped me to understand the process. Yeah, because I ain't had nobody helping me. Now, because I watch Hoop Dreams, that made me say, all right, if I'm gonna go get this somehow, I got to figure out my own way to do it. But y'all was the blueprint for that.
I just got to ask you this too, though, Newt. I'm hearing this story, man, and I'm just blown away. But my question for you is, what made you not stop? Because I mean, I think our listeners, especially our younger listeners, they didn't even take your route. They're in the basketball schools and they still want to walk away from the game. Yeah. What kept you in there?
That love. I just felt like I could be something that no one saw. You know what I'm saying? And one big thing too, my family being from the Congo, my mom and dad would always say, "You want something, you go get it." So they was immigrants. You know what I'm saying? They came out here. My dad came out here first. Then my mom came out here with 3 little kids. You know, my brothers and sisters. Nothing. He was a doctor over there. He came out here. None of his education was honored. He was washing dishes. So he had to re-educate himself all over again. So he told me growing up, yo, you got to go get whatever. He ended up getting deported after the first year being out here. after my mom and the kids just got here, right? So
Wow.
then he was able to, thank God, was able to come back. But all them experiences, man, and he would tell me how it is. He's like, yo, you could be you could be in the Congo and not have none of these resources. So I looked at it from a different perspective. Okay, I'm not really going through as much as I could if I was over there. I got a lot of cousins and stuff that, man, they educated like crazy, but it ain't no jobs.
Ain't no jobs. Wow.
Because cats over there, when you get a job, they in it till they die pretty much because it ain't no jobs like that. So that's what kept me going to answer your question, Will, is because I ain't had no choice. I ain't got nothing to complain about. I'm still in a blessed situation because I'm in the States.
Yeah.
So that's how I looked at it.
Man.
That's how I looked at it.
Yeah.
That's like next level too, man. Let me, speaking of your family, talk a little bit about your mom, your dad, and the influence they had on you.
Well, you know, my dad, he passed away back in 2020. Not from COVID. He had cancer. Appreciate that. But they and my mom's still with us. But you know, they've always been a big influence on not allowing anybody to put you in a box. Because you know, they came from a time frame where it's all this racial discrimination. It's still going on even now. But they came in a time where it was really rough. I mean, my pops, for example, he got re-educated and he became a doctor here again. You know, he became an MD, but he was never able to get hired because of discrimination. He had a deep accent. So up until he passed, he's an MD who never worked as an MD in the United States. So
wow.
He just showed me a lot. They just showed me a lot of work ethic. Don't make no excuses. Feel what you feel, but that ain't no green light to stop working. So that's kind of always been my mentality that I took from them. Even going through my surgeries and all that stuff, man, figuring out what I'm going to do next after hoop ended. Don't stop working. Feel what you feel. Be depressed, but you can't quit.
Now I wanna take you there because you spoke on it twice. You playing basketball in Germany. Is this where you had a car accident?
Nah, so I had it here in Cali, and I had actually just signed a contract to play in Spain, which is crazy. And I was about to go over there. Yeah, literally in 1 month I was about to leave, and I got into a major car accident.
Damn.
Drunk driver hit my car and ended my career. And next, you know, all that work gone. Once again, the relatability. I keep saying it with Hoop Dreams. The relatability, everything y'all went through, man. I understood it. You know, because that hurt and it's real. When you know you can't hoop no more.
Right. I mean, how was that? Do you remember when the doctor told you? He was like, yo, your basketball career is over with.
Yeah, when he said, man, you could barely, he said you can try to come back, but I'm telling you right now, you're going to injure yourself even worse. And so I had an option. He's like, shut it down now or take your chances. I said, nah, man, I'm going to take my chance. So I had 3 surgeries. I ended up having a 4th because I tried to come back. And I'm like, man, it's done, man. And I was depressed, man. And that was before the mental health was a big thing back then. You know how that is.
Damn, I know you was like, fuck, I was finna go to Spain.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like y'all going through y'all recruiting stuff and you get hurt. And you're like, man, you was right there busting their ass.
Yeah.
You was right there. And then you don't know what could have happened because my agent started talking to NBA teams at that time for summer league opportunities. So if I would have balled out in that Spanish league that one season, you never know what could have popped off.
Absolutely. Now, what did you injure?
So I had a torn meniscus, ACL, broken kneecap on the left, on the right, torn meniscus and ACL on the left.
Damn.
Yeah, from an accident. It wasn't even from hooping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they have to cut you out the car or some shit?
Yeah. So I woke up, and it's funny you say that, or interesting you say that. I actually woke up in the hospital. So I'm going towards a curve, and next thing you know, this car, I'm going to a workout too, which is crazy, like 5 a.m. Going towards a curve. This car comes around the curve, and it's one lane going both directions. So when he came around, you know, when you're going around, you kind of acting crazy, and next thing you know, you in the same lane. I couldn't veer. Bam, he hit me.
Damn.
Yeah. Next thing you know, I woke up in the hospital.
Man, we a lot has been talked about, mental depression and mental health and stuff like that. You say you was I know you was depressed out of that. How did you deal with that? What was the longevity after that from the accident and depression set in? Like, I got to do something. Like, what the fuck?
Well, I always try to find other things to do. So, when I was physically able, after I just realized I couldn't come back after that fourth surgery, I started trying to be I had some friends say, all right, why don't you try to do something that's still involved in the game? So I started training kids. That was hard for me too. It was fulfilling, but on the one end, I still knew I had, at least internally in my mind, I knew it was unfinished business. So I felt like it was just taken away. So I had a hard time doing that for a minute.
Wow.
And so then I transitioned to becoming a sports agent. I started looking for agencies to hire me. Nobody would hire me, so I created my own agency. Created my own agency. I used to rep some of my buddies, and teams I already knew, and then it kind of branched off. But even then, it was just like, so I try to stay involved in the game, but even then, it hurt. You know what I'm saying? It just hurt. The hurt never went away. But I bottled it up as much as I could, and so that's why it's interesting that we talk about this, because winning time, when I booked this, it took away all the pain because I felt like I made it in a different form, but it's like I made it in the game of basketball, if that make any sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you touched on that too, man, because I get asked that question a lot, and people are like, well, man, you're doing great. And I try to tell people, y'all have no idea. I missed the game. I'm right there with you. I know how good I was and what I could have became, and because of the knee injuries, that the fulfillment of that. And I like to tell people this way, and I'm sure you might even relate to this. It's the fulfillment of not knowing if you could have. I didn't even get a chance to get turned down. My knees turned it down for me. So I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that people don't understand that it's everything that we put into it to get to that level. You just can't shut that off. The 5 a.m. workouts, the 2-3 day practices, running in the rain, shoveling the snow, clearing the glass off the playground, going to different communities, risking, bodily harm just to hoop. You just can't walk away from that like it wasn't nothing. So I guess my question for you right now is, man, I'm glad you got the showtime and it gives you that fulfillment. But is there still a piece of you that says, man, especially when you see cats playing now? I know when you see some of these cats playing now, you're like, hey, man, I can get that dude right now.
Right now. It ain't no defense being played either. Right now. You get 15 on him real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I do feel that way.
Sir.
And it's interesting. Like, I'm really working on my body now, but easy. It ain't like how it was. I'm working on my body to be able to still perform. You know what I'm saying? And feel good about it, respectable. So I'm at that stage now. I'm right where I think I'm the best I've ever been. Because I had asked my wife, this was before I got winning time. I said, what do you think if I go overseas just one more season? I don't know if y'all heard of this BAL league, the Basketball African League.
Yeah, the African League.
Yeah.
J. Cole played
on ESPN.
And I saw that, and I said, I had a contact through that league from back when I was an agent. I asked my wife, I said, what if I just went over there for it's only a 7-week league. And she said, yeah. Well, then fast forward, I got winning time.
I got winning time.
I got to don that purple and gold. And that just
that's God telling you something like, hey man, I got something for you, man. Like, here you go. And I'm leading into that because my dad became a pastor and Will is a pastor now. Did you in that time, did you lean on your faith?
I did heavily, because you ain't had nothing else to lean on. All our strength and confidence came from hoop. How can we bully somebody? How can we dunk on somebody? How can we give them 50 or 30 or whatever the goal was? So the confidence came from that. And when that was gone, that's all it was. I had to ask God, man, what I can't do this, so I need your help and guidance on this. I don't know what to
Wow.
do. I really don't. And I prayed, man. It was times keeping it real. I had one moment, man, where I thought, all right, I'm gonna take myself out at one point. And then, a friend of mine luckily was there, saved my life.
Yeah.
And so talked me out of it. And so
that's real talk too, man. That's real talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't know, man. It can, man, the depression can set in, but I'm so glad that my dad has always told me no matter what, he taught me how to pray. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So no matter what happens, I ain't got to go to no drugs, no liquor bottle. The first thing is I got to pray and I need help.
Yeah.
And that's the only person I know who to go to and talk to. And normally when that happens, he hear my prayers. It may not be right then and there, but that, like you said, that winning time gonna come. You see what I'm saying? That he gonna drop me in that winning time, and he gonna let me know, yeah, I'm real. I hear you.
That's real talk.
But
man.
that's yeah.
Well, Newt, man, I'm so glad to hear that testimony, man, because I think that needs to be shared more. We got so many young athletes just don't know what to do. Because again, it goes back to, I've been doing this all my life. And it's easy for somebody to say, well, then you need to do something else. And they say you need to fall back on something. But I even remember being in college. Man, when I was recruiting, my coach did this. He says, Will, he'll hold up one finger. Basketball has to be second while you're here. Then he'll hold up two fingers and say, school is the most important thing. He was clearly sending the signal that basketball is first and school is second.
Right.
Because we knew why we were there.
Yes.
We knew that it was about winning. We knew that it was about, making the university money and all that's great. Well, at least for me, what I didn't understand was I didn't know how to function without the game.
Yeah.
And that's what's so tough. I just didn't know how to function without that basketball in my hand because, and I'm sure all three of us felt this before.
Yeah.
With that ball in your hand, the world disappeared.
Yes.
That was your strength. That was your comfort.
Yep.
And so when you lose that, then what do you have? We didn't grow up in great neighborhoods. Going to the basketball court was your peace.
Yeah.
Now you just lost your peace.
And you know what that's crazy, Will, you said that. You know what I learned over the years with Hoop Dreams and not knowing, what this was gonna become, always felt like because most of my life was about basketball. That's 90% of my life. So I'm thinking 90% of my life is of basketball and 10% is of Arthur Agee. I don't know what I want to do without this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like over the years I've learned to kind of say is I'm 50% basketball and I'm 50% Arthur Agee because I know who I am. I'm Arthur Agee. I'm not just the basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've figured out my love, my likes, things that I want to do, stuff like that. So how's that? And it's so remarkable for you is that you took that same grit, that same I ain't gonna quit, and your faith, and you channeled it into acting. Like everybody can't act, dog.
No, we won't do this thing what you call halftime. So before we get into your acting career, let us do this halftime piece with you. And what we want to do is, man, we're gonna throw some quick hitters at you and see how you respond to it. So I'm gonna hit you with these 5 things right quick, and then Agee gonna hit you with something.
Okay.
Choose between these: white men can't jump or love and basketball.
Love and basketball all day.
All right. Family Feud or Wheel of Fortune?
I'm gonna have to go Wheel of Fortune.
My man, you right there with me. All right. Law and Order or CSI?
Man, I'm gonna have to go with Law and Order.
Feeling you. I'm feeling you.
Yeah.
The Wire or Top Boy?
Well, I'm gonna have to go with my man Wood Harris because he's one of my castmates. So The Wire.
Oh,
That's right. That's right. You 4 for 4 right now. I know it's your answer, but you 4 for 4 right now. But this one here, man, this one might stump you a little bit. The first Bad Boys, or Miami Vice with Jamie Foxx?
Oh, wow. Okay. Dang, with Jamie.
Yeah.
You know something? I love that first Bad Boys, man. That thing set a precedence for a lot. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah.
The first Bad Boy. I ain't mad at you on that one.
I got you. Top 3 favorite North Carolina Tar Heel basketball players.
Okay. You know, Mike off gate. That's one.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go with Vince.
Ooh, VC.
I'm gonna go with VC. Dang, my top 3. I'm gonna go with Pep.
Julius
I'm gonna go
Peppers,
with
baby.
Pep. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because you already know, and everybody know, he could have easily went to the league. Jew had the handle too. Jew low key could have turned into a 3. He had the handle. I saw all of it. He had a jump shot. He just was playing the 4 that one year that he played, and they went to the Final Four. So he could.
You know who?
Yeah.
He reminded me of Gary Trent.
Uh-huh.
That's who that's left-handed Gary Trent. That's who he reminded me of. Yeah, game like him.
Uh-huh. And a freakish athlete though. 280.
Freakish athlete.
6'6", 6'7". Will give it to you anyway. He was like a small in a big's body.
Yep. Hit him, Will.
You played ball, acted, and modeled all over the world. Give me your top 3 favorite cities.
Top 3 favorite cities. L.A., Charlotte, of course, because that's the crib, and Chicago.
Really? So none of your overseas, none of them don't make the list.
I mean, they was cool. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I'm still a country boy at heart, so you know, I like my spots.
Okay, good. I'm glad you. Okay, you played in Germany. Your favorite German food?
Bratwurst. I used to love them sausages, man. They was real good because they was different than what we got over here.
Right. You say the size of the bratwurst, baby.
You say it got authentic when you was over there.
Because they had all the flavors of them, boy. It was something different every time you went somewhere.
So I'm about to hit you with something, man. This might test your loyalty.
Okay. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I know it's going to test your loyalty. I need you to rank for me and Agee the cast in order and their basketball skills. And in a one-on-one, who wins the tourney? That's all. You got to rank them, and who wins the tourney?
Okay, so you're talking about my cast on winning time. Okay.
Yes.
See, my basketball mind is gonna tell me that I'm gonna win the tourney, but I'm gonna take myself out of it because you know that's just
okay. You don't have to now. You don't have to.
My pride, right there. Now, in my older years, I'm gonna go ahead and take myself out. So if I gotta see who's gonna win the tourney, my man Solomon, who plays Kareem, he's a beast. He's a legit 6'10", 6'11", and he actually hoop.
Damn.
He can actually hoop. So I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna give it to him all day. My man Shelby Motts, he plays Marty Burns on the show. He actually played at Vanderbilt, so he can actually hoop.
Okay.
And then my man Mike Scott, he played Butch Lee on the show. He was another one of the players. So them 3 cats, man, nothing against all the boys, man, I love them. But them 3 cats, yeah, they was official. They official.
Yeah. I'm just saying, there's a lot of former Marquette players on
Butch
this Laker
Lee.
team. I'm just saying.
Butch Lee.
I'm just saying. There's a lot of, and y'all almost had McAdoo, but that's a whole nother story too.
Let me hit you with this one. Is there a director you like to work with?
Director I'd like to work with. This is the crazy part, man. When I say this, it's gonna sound weird. I would love to work with any director, but man, I didn't work with some of my favorite directors. Prime example, Sally Richardson. She's one of my directors on this series. I mean, we grew up on Sally Richardson. Low Down, Dirty Shame, all that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yes. That's all I'm gonna say. Sally Richardson.
Yeah.
So
hey, but she married to my boy out there. Yeah. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
But that's who she married to.
Yeah. So he's a good brother, man. And so she because she transitioned into into directing, man, and she's been doing it.
So she done got behind the camera.
Oh
Wow.
man, she's doing a couple of HBO series simultaneously.
Yeah.
So
she's been doing it for a minute. And his name is DeAndre.
DeAndre
Yep,
Whitfield.
DeAndre Whitfield. Yeah.
I did get a chance. My man Jonas Hill was a director too for episode. I think the first it was either 3 or 4. No, 3. I didn't come on to episode 5, so I didn't get a chance to work with him, man. But he's somebody hopefully I get to work with in the future. Oh, no, I love to work with Spike Lee too, of course, man. I mean that's iconic, man.
Absolutely.
Spike, I got.
You know, that would be a dream right there.
Yeah.
But then go ahead and tell him, I hear there's a part 2 he's working on. He got game part 2.
Spike, brother.
Tell him right
I'm
now.
an actor who can actually hoop. So it'll be an honor if I get an opportunity just to be in your presence. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, man, give me who are your top 3, male or female, favorite actors that you just like to watch as a fan?
Well, my favorite actor, man, and it became more solid, man, when I got a chance to work with him, Wood Harris. That brother, man. And
Which let me just throw this tidbit. Wood is a St. Joe's. He went to St. Joe's.
Here, for real?
He went to Resurrection first. He went to a school called Resurrection first.
And then he went to St. Joe. Wood played with Isaiah.
Get out of here.
So,
for real?
Yeah. So throw that at him.
I think him and his brother.
Okay. Oh, man. So him and what you see it's one thing when you see the after product, when you see the actual movies and everything he's been in, the TV series, but to work with him and see the artistry that he creates, man, it's infectious, man. And he will actually pull me to the side and say, "Nope, try it this way or try it that way." And so he became like a big brother to me on set. Another guy, Adrian Brody, he's also on my set. Phenomenal, man. When I say, because once again, I was on a set with a bunch of with some thoroughbreds, man, some veterans that was nuts.
Yeah.
Sally Field, I mean, all these people, man. And so Mike Epps was on it. I mean, we got a roster, man. It's like an all-star team. So those two for sure, Adrian and Wood, and then probably a Denzel, man. I've been around him a couple times, but I'd love to work with him one day, and he's definitely one of my favorite too.
So they ain't call you for that Black Panther 2 role yet?
We working on that. We working on it. I got the NACA accent and everything, boy, so I'm waiting on that.
That's right. He's like, I can go right to my Congo language, baby. What?
That's right. Easy. That's right. Well, Newt, man, we appreciate you, man, doing halftime with us. So what we want to do is, man, we want to jump into your acting career. You told us a little bit about how the fame jumped on you in terms of people seeing you, and so you just said, man, let me just see where this leads. Is that how it went down?
Yeah, people would always ask me, man, you're an actor. When you're in LA, man, everybody an actor, actress for the most part. So because it's a land of creativity, man, and so it's a land of entertainment. So when I started looking for other things I could potentially do after I was done being a sports agent, I said, all right, let me try this acting stuff out. And so I went to a class. I went to Tasha Smith. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She did a lot of Tyler Perry stuff, and she's been doing a lot of directing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so she was one of my.
Oh yeah, no, she got a twin.
Yeah, her and Sidra.
The twins. Yeah.
So I went to her class.
I ain't know she got her own acting stuff.
Yeah. So I studied under her for 5 years, and
damn.
Yeah, and so I got an opportunity. I went to one of her classes, just audited it, just kind of checked it out, and it instantly gave me a similar passion as playing ball. That's how infectious it was, and nothing else I felt like that about. Because when we post basketball, you try to find something else that at least give you some kind of love to do it.
Yeah,
and so acting did. So I'm like, all right, just like basketball, I need to hone my skills, and so I started going to class, kind of seeing how that went. And the beauty about Tasha's class is she would bring in like legitimate actors. Denzel has come, Mary J. Blige has come. A lot of her alumni has been big. My man Eamon Joseph, that's on Snowfall. He studied under her. My man Lance Gross, he studied under her. So we had a lot.
Wow.
Brandy, that's on P Valley. That was one of my classmates. So
Oh, for real?
yeah, so
Yeah.
she had an environment for a lot of star-studded people that would come in and like pour back into the students that was there. My man Wood Harris came through. So I
Mm.
met him before I became castmates with him. So yeah, it was that's kind of how I got into it. And then I would start doing a bunch of feature films and short films and try to get my film game up. And I would do
Mm-hmm.
anything that, even if it was for free. Same mindset as playing ball. Just to
Right.
be on set, just to understand how everything worked. Looking at it from a
And
basketball player perspective. If I'm a point guard, how does this work? Or if he does this, how does this affect this? And that's kind
mm-hmm.
of how I operated. And that's kind of how I navigated it.
Man, now, most people when they get into acting classes, they don't understand that, you know, that they need to, always, and I heard this from veteran actors, they always never think that their craft can't always be worked on. And for you to go, to be in that acting class for 5 years, were you still going for other jobs and stuff? While you were going to acting classes?
Oh yeah, for sure. So while you're in class, you still auditioning. So if you're fortunate enough to have an agent, you'll get an agent. They help you out. At the same time, you self-submitting, so you're looking for your own stuff. With actors, it's like job boards for like actors. This is websites, so you can get on there. You post your resume, you post your footage, and you submit to different acting gigs. And so I was very big on doing my own stuff. So I use my agents as we collaborate. I just don't wait on nobody. And and then
Mm,
networking too.
Mm-hmm,
You might meet
mm-hmm.
somebody that, you know what, I got a film that you'd be great in. And so that's kind of
mm-hmm.
how I've always operated it from that perspective, and not waiting on anybody either.
Yeah, that's
Hey, name for us some of the shows and that you've been on and some of your other
Well,
accolades.
HBO Winning Time is my biggest to date, so it's my career changer. But I got an opportunity,
mm-hmm.
which was a blessing for me, to work on a film called Dark Tales with my wife. And because she's a
Mm.
phenomenal, she's way better than me.
Mm.
I'm a better actor because of her, if I'm gonna be honest. Um,
Wow.
and that's like it's like a, a horror film, but it's a dramatic comedy almost.
Mm-hmm.
So we like serial killers that feed people to other people. It's wild, man. It's
Wow.
wild. So Dark Tales, and then I actually won an award for another film called A Life in Three Letters, where that was a very inspirational film because it was the best actor. Right around that time, I was filming that my dad was sick and he ended up passing away. And in the film, my dad passed away. So in
Mm-hmm.
that particular film, my dad, my mom left. And so I always blamed him for years on why would you push her away? Well, when he passed away, he had this box with three letters. He told me to go get it. And
Mm.
when I opened up the box, it kind of gave me the history of how everything went. So,
Mm.
so my dad's best friend was my mom, who passed away, and he adopted me. And he never
Mm.
told me that. So I thought that he and his wife were my biological parents, and they were not. Well,
Mm.
his wife left him because he was taking care of me. So the
Mm.
whole time I'm sitting here tripping on him, not knowing that he sacrificed everything to take care of me, and his wife didn't want no
Right.
part of that, and he wasn't even, and I
Mm.
wasn't even his. So
Wow.
And
it's
what's
called
the
A
name of
Life in
that
Three
one?
Letters. I'll make sure I send it to you guys.
A Life in Three.
Oh, that's what's
Yeah,
up.
Yeah,
man.
very emotional.
Wow.
Very emotional.
I'm getting inspired already just hearing your
Yeah.
epilogue on it. So man, now Winning Time.
Yeah.
One of the best shows on TV, and for a basketball lover, probably the best show on TV. And of course, man, you playing my man Jim Jones,
He
Mark
told me to tell you what's up too,
Catalan.
by the way. I talked to him
Man,
before I got on.
oh, hey, man, we
Oh, it's
gonna get him
done.
on the show too. But how did you get the role, and then where did you get your prep from? How you prep
Yeah.
for
Take
this?
us through the first steps. Hearing about it, going to audition. Did how many people auditioned just for your role?
Well, it was a funny thing because right when I was telling my wife what I said earlier, I was telling my wife, or asking her, what if I go back to the BAL and try to hoop in that? A couple of weeks later, I get this audition from my reps. And my rep said, yo, you ever heard of Jim Jones? I'm like, nah, I ain't heard of him, but let me look him up. She said he played for the Lakers. Look him up. Saw he went to Marquette. Saw he was the second player to lead college basketball early. I mean, his whole history was just phenomenal to me. And I'm like, how do I not know this man? And
Right.
so I started to look him up. I started to research him, and I had 2 days I'm sorry, 3 days to from the script to turning in my self tape, because everything is self tape. And so I got coaching on it. My wife helped me on it. Submitted the self tape, sent it out. And how I do it is, when I do a self tape and when I do an audition, I do it and I move on. Because if you think about it, man, that's how you quit anything in this, especially in this business. And Arthur, you know what I'm talking about, because you can mess around and be like, man, I hope I get this. I hope I get it. I hope I get it. I'm like, nah, man, you can't put no energy into it. Bless you. And so I did it. My wife was like, you got it. You got it. I'm like, well, I feel like I ain't do that well on it, but she said, you killed it. You killed it. So every Thursday, I'm on this it's this lab where I'm in with a bunch of other actors. Somebody got a script. We just read it just to see how it sounds out loud. So I'm in this lab, and so I got my phone on mute. And so my rep is trying to call me, right? Rep is trying to call me, can't get a hold of me. So, my wife, she got the same rep too. So they called her. My wife slides me a note saying, you got the gig. I look at
while you in the
while
lab.
I'm in the lab. I look at this joint. I still got 2 more hours on this thing, man. I'm ready to get off this joint. I'm like, man, I'm ready to be like, man, to hell with this thing, man. I got the gig.
Right.
But I had to finish it up. You know what I'm saying? I had to finish it up. So when I was done, man, we celebrated. We was crying. We was hugging, man. When I said it was life-changing, it was life-changing. And then this was around my birthday, too. So this was around June 7th. And then I'm on set June 14th. This was last year. All the way until...
That quick.
It was quick. Less than 10 days. It's unheard of. The whole cast and crew. My man, Spencer Garrett, who y'all had on here, who's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
All of them. Wood Harris, Adrian Brody, Jason Segel, Sally Field, all of them. And I'm thrown right in there with them. It wasn't no ranks. And they accepted me as a fellow actor, which was amazing. It was like my rookie season, for real. It's like everything else leading up to that was like high school, college. So then I had to adjust to the speed of the game, because I wasn't used to being in scenes where it was like 13, 14, 15 people. Bam, 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 right? It was quicker. So I had to get it. Everything is equivalent to basketball. I had to get used to the speed of the game, which, once again, my wife helped me out tremendously, man. And then I got used to it, and then I excelled. And hey, we went from season 1, and now here we are, season 2 coming along, who we're getting ready for. Yeah.
Crazy.
Talk about life-changing blessing. I mean, that helped me pay for my wedding. I got married last year, too.
Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Yeah.
So, man, you've talked about all them great actors on set. What was it like working alongside them? And I got to ask this, man. Were you starstruck?
No, Will, he wasn't starstruck. We know him. He a challenger. He a competitor. He was in there soaking shit up with like 5 sponges. Listen, he was like, I got something from him. I got something from her.
I hear what you saying, Agee. I hear what you saying. But you and I both know, when I was out there working with Mike Jordan, I was like, man, that's Mike Jordan. I'm just going to be real. I'm like, that's Mike Jordan.
Right.
Keep it real.
Something, it was a bit of both. Once because it was surreal every day that I got on set. I had to pinch myself, like, man, I'm about to go on set and work with Adrian. I'm about to go on set and work with Sally Field as a director. I'm about to go on set and work with with Adam McKay. Like, I ain't even said his name yet. So
John C. Reilly.
Like, so I had to pinch myself. At the same time, I had to understand that they wouldn't put me in this position if they didn't feel like I was ready. And I deserve to be here too. You got to tell yourself that. You can't feel like I'm out of place, or else you will be. You know what I'm saying? So I had to tell myself I deserve to be here. At the same time, I'm humble and grateful for the opportunity. And that's how I conducted myself. Confident at the same time. When your number is called, you perform. And that's kind of how I looked at it, while still supporting my fellow actors and everything they was doing. I ran it like a point guard. I can handle the rock. I can distribute. I give you 15 assists. If you need me to drop 30 for you, just let me know. I got you.
I gotta ask you this though, man. Some of the best scenes are them basketball scenes. I mean, them things are special. I mean, special. How much of it is real? And how much of it is stuntmen doing this? Gotta ask.
I can't tell you that. Nah. Come on now. Well, what I will say is this. The whole cast and crew, man, worked effortlessly to make sure that it looked real. Because it was a compare and contrast. Not saying any other names. There's been other films out there that it don't look as real, right? So they took that into account, and I think the execs and everybody involved did a great job to make sure that it looked real, because that was one of the most important things, because it was going to be judged from real hoopers, from society, from everybody watching it. Man, this basketball ain't real.
Yeah,
that was a big deal. I mean, and you talking about iconic Lakers, so it had to look real.
Yeah.
So that's all. That's all I'm
It's
saying.
So crazy. Hey, look! It's so crazy, though. I want to know the when you say making it look real, like that shit. I mean, even how it come across on TV, it looked like. I mean, the clothes. I don't even know if they put a filter over the lens of because it even looked like the 80s, like back in the, in LA with it just looked like back in the 80s. That shit was crazy.
Watching it on an old VHS tape.
They did a great job of making everything was authentic, from the clothing, how the afros look, even down in the locker rooms to the Gatorade bottles. Like, it was literally the papers, like the newspapers was a 79. And you read the joint, it's literally just 1979 newspaper with articles in it from back in the day. So everything was original, and they wanted to make sure that so we could fully engulf ourselves in that time frame. So we could literally take a spaceship back, a time ship back. And and even with like the way it looked, they use film. So they use all these different medium outlets, from a more modern to, that's how you see the switching in, how it look old 1 minute, the next minute it look more modern. They did that all on purpose. It was genius.
Damn.
Now I gotta ask you this too, man. And you can answer this however you feel comfortable answering it. As many people love this, and I'm one of the ones that love it, there's a contingency out there that, a little upset, particularly the people that y'all are playing are upset about, the way it's coming across. Has that affected, you in any kind of way, or others on there? Or do you like, hey, this is just a gig, we're just performing? I mean, because there's some diehard Laker fans that's upset.
And I understand it. At the same time, I look at it like this: you can't please everybody. The intent is for it to be a love letter to everybody involved in who we playing, right? In order to tell a story, you got to understand the origins of it, and regardless of what's involved in that, could be good or bad, depending on how you look at it. We're telling the story of a franchise that won all these championships, that created a dynasty. And that's all we're doing. It's a love letter. So how people take it is on them. I know for me, it's changed my life. It's been a great thing for me, and that's how I look at it. And any of those guys, if they don't feel good about it, I hope that they change their mind, because I would want to be allies with them instead of be confrontational with them. But if not, we got to move on with life too. They feel what they feel, and that's okay.
And you know what? I always say this, like these guys that, and I knew, I mean, Spencer told us, but I mean, I also read it too, that it took them years to even, even make this. Like, it was, it was almost like, damn, what, 5, almost 6, 7 years. And they did their due diligence on researching what was factual and what was, at that time and everything. And of course, in film, TV, you're going to alter some shit to make it, how you want it to, because it's y'all shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, that's the part I like, that, it's not going to hold up. The people, the legal department that already took care of that, believe me, I know. Like, they can come with and most of the people, all they said, they want an apology.
I mean, the research is the research. You know what I'm saying? So I can't respond to what he's trying to do or any of these people. I get it. I get it. Like I say, I get it. But at the same
Right.
time, man, this is meant to be something that everybody can enjoy, educate people. It's a history lesson. That's what it is,
Yeah.
I think, on how the dynasty became
Yep.
an actual dynasty. And everybody's part in that whole
Yeah.
process. You know, Jim Jones has a part in it. You know, everybody got a part in it.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
whatever that looked like, that's what it was.
And there's a lot of folks who, and there's a lot of folks too, man, who like with any of us,
Yeah.
we don't want our dirt told. I mean, that's just the reality behind it. Who wants to come across looking bad, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, they like, we don't want our dirt told, but we ain't getting paid neither. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where, you know what I'm saying? That's where it all comes down. If the motherfucker was getting paid, they wouldn't be saying shit. Okay, well, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Hey, listen, absolutely. They'd probably be out there saying, hey, listen, just how you see
right.
it. It is what it is. But I get it. Well, listen, man, I just want to let you know, man, the show is phenomenal. I can't wait. I hated that, you know, we got to wait till Sundays to catch it. You know what's so crazy about that, too? The mere fact that some of the Laker players have issue with us may also usher in.
Right.
You know, hey, bad publicity could be good publicity, too.
That's
You know,
right.
it's like.
It's more eyes on
right.
it. It's all good. Okay, let me see why this thing is perceived as bad. Now, you got a whole other group of people who wasn't going to look at it otherwise.
Yes.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because it's a history lesson for me, and I thought I knew. I thought I knew some things, but I'm like, whoa, okay.
Hey, what's the guy name that played Norm?
So that's his son, Devon. That's his real son. His name is Devon Nixon.
Man.
Yeah,
that's his real
a great
son.
job, man. Talk about a great actor too, because he's on Snowfall
That's
too.
Crazy.
He's on Snowfall too.
Mm.
And he looked just like his daddy too, man. That ain't makeup. That ain't makeup.
Just like
that boy looked just like his daddy.
That ain't makeup.
Hoop just like him too.
I want to ask you about the character that you play in particular, that Marquette legend. Now, you said you had some conversations with him. I just want to get his take on what he said to you about playing him. What was his take?
I reached out to him back in August, and it was just to be respectful and tell him, look, it's my name. I'm playing you on this new show called Winning Time. At the time, it was untitled. We didn't have a title yet. And he was elated. So I reached out to his daughter online on Instagram. Then, you know, she reached out back to me. I sent her a few articles just to make sure it wasn't, you know, online, it'd be some crazy stuff. Sometimes it ain't real. And so,
right.
You know, she had his rep call me. We talked a little bit, and then he introduced me to Jim, and we've been tied to the hip ever since. And he's just excited. Been excited the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah. Because once again, a lot of people didn't know Jim and what his impact was on the game,
deserved too, man.
which was huge.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these cats, they either leave school early or, you know, they don't go to school at all now. And people don't know that he was the second ever. Spencer Haywood was the first.
Absolutely.
So it's
wow.
on the same squad too at that. So it's kind of like, you know, my goal is to showcase him as much as possible and to educate folks while we're going through this process with the show of who he was.
Yeah.
You know, because it's important for people to know this history and why we have the luxuries that we have, what at least these basketball players do now.
Man, what an amazing show. But I want to move on and ask you some questions about, particularly in your career, how are you using, because now things have changed from when you was playing, we were playing. You said, you talked about it earlier. There was no Instagram. There was no Twitter and TikTok and all these other things, man. How are you using these new social platforms to, you know, push your career further now?
Well, one thing is, you know, I have a MBA in internet marketing, so I understood clearly.
Well, congratulations,
thank
man.
you, brother. Thank you. I understood very clearly on the impact, especially when it was transitioning into more social media stuff, and I understood the impact of your presence. So once again, you are under a microscope now. Everybody's accessible. So I wanted to create a narrative of inspiration. I wanted to create a narrative of you can do whatever you set your mind to do, because that's how I conduct my life, and I always have. That's how I was raised. And so I utilize social media for just those narratives, my work, inspiration, and believing in yourself. And I'm always putting my work on there. And, now I'm fortunate that I'm having some eyes on my stuff that, may want to reach out. And I've had people reach out for opportunities. They want to cast me and stuff. But I tell people all the time, that's your calling card. That's the new business card. People don't have, physical business cards like that anymore. So, and even like these athletes growing up right now, keep your pants up. You know what I'm saying? Don't be showing a bunch of money on there, and because that's a recruiting tool. So it's from not even just from in general. Somebody in the corporate world. Don't be out there getting turned up like that. If you work in the corporate world, that somebody might see that, and you get fired. You see what I'm saying? So I've utilized it to try to make sure that I'm positioning myself for the next gig, but also inspiring people so that they can maybe learn something too.
Do you see yourself? Because I know I experienced it. Agee experienced it. Do you find yourself in that in between stages where there's a lot of code switching going on in your career?
What do you mean by that exactly?
Meaning that you because you were talking about it with social media presence, you got to act a certain way or be a certain way to achieve certain things, and sometimes and I guess my second question, follow-up question, would be, how do you maintain who you are as you are trying to move into this new level of success?
I look at it from this perspective. The best way that I've maintained is I don't take it all too seriously at all. I had a couple mentors that really broke down this business to me. One, my parents, of course. Two, Sidney Poitier was a mentor of mine for years. And I got an opportunity to be around him the latter part of his year of his life. And he broke down the business like, just be a good person. Be a good person. People will flock him anytime I was around him. Flock him, and he'll give everybody an autograph or a photo and be just nice and humble. And sometimes like, Mr. Poitier, you tired? You want to go? Nope. For what I have to give each one of these people an autograph. For without them, I wouldn't be who I am. So I'm like that anyway, naturally. So for me, I just want to be myself. I'm not going to change myself. If someone doesn't agree with who I am, that's okay. We ain't going to be liked by everybody. Being older, I understand that. And that's okay. And so I know who I am. And at the end of the day, kind of going back to what Arthur said, 50% basketball, 50% knowing who you are, right? Well, I've gained that 50% of knowing who I am going into this acting world because I had all that basketball stuff that came with it beforehand. So now I'm going into this. I love the attention on one end. We all love attention, but it doesn't make or break, and it doesn't give me a green light to treat people badly. It's not going to be a pretentious. I'm going to be like how we chopping it up right now. I'm going to be like this with anybody because, just like you could be blessed with something, it also be taken away from you. And then now what? You done treated people like crap, and then what? That's not okay either.
Hey, Newton, while y'all preparing for season 2, is there anything else that you're working on, or all your time is allotted for this particular project?
Well, I actually do have a film that I'm in process of studying for, meaning shadowing the guy who I'll be playing. So it's the lead role is for a film where I can go from being a gangster that turns into a preacher. And so it's going to be an interesting film because it's going to go through all the strife from what he dealt with and how he had to figure out a way to get out of his gang life. And ultimately, God was always in his life. He just didn't know how to separate himself from the gang life to where his ultimate calling was supposed to be, and that was preaching the gospel. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now, in between.
Looking forward to that.
Hey, I always hear this in the film industry. Man, it's 12-hour days on the set. Have you experienced that yet?
Man, Winning Time was a great example of that. 12 hours was a light day for us. We would have 18-hour days. I think one time it was up, don't quote me on this, but I think it was up to 22 hours one day that we had, especially towards the end. Because, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's literally like hooping when it comes to your time is in that.
Right.
And so think of take after take after take, angle after angle after angle, because once again, they want to have as much stuff as they can. So when they start to put
Right.
the pieces together, they got enough material to put together, so it just flows.
Right. You know what always fascinated me? How long it takes for them to break down one set and go to the next set. It'll be like 2 or 3 hours, Will. You can go to your trailer. Like, we finna set up for this next shoot. Go ahead and take a break. We got like 2.5 hours. Like, what?
And that's a part of the time too. On why it's 18,
Yeah,
19,
that's part of
20
the
hours.
time. Like, yeah. Crazy. I was
and
like,
then they might hit
I went in my trailer and fell asleep. Motherfucker had to come wake me up. Hey, we ready for you now?
And,
I'm like, damn.
And then they might hit you with some extra lines that you ain't have initially. He goes 2-3 more lines real quick. He go through 2-3 more pages. Go ahead and get through this for in the hour that we got break. Be ready to perform it when it's time to get back on set. So it's very fast paced on top of the stuff that you already got. And so I tell people all the time, if you want to be an actor, it's a couple things that you have to be willing to do. It's a rite of passage. When you come out here or wherever you at, are you willing to be rejected constantly and not get no phone call no matter how many auditions you do, right? Are you willing to have a survival job even if you were educated in whatever your educational background is, because you need a job that's going to be flexible, right? So at any given moment you can do your thing. And if you can answer some of those questions yes, then you can do it. But it's one of the most amazing creative things in the world too, and I've loved it every minute of it.
My final question for you is, man, out of all the success and the heartache and the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the crossroads, what has been the most, and it could be a couple of things, but that fulfilling thing for you? What has that been?
I would say, and it is a couple things. I'm at peace with the game of basketball for the first time in 20 years. I'm at peace. I don't need to prove anything. I feel accepted, if that means, in a sense. One, two, the smile I see on my wife's face, because she's my rock, man, and the smile I see on her face when she's proud of me, because she also helped me get through it. And three, the smiles I see on my family's face. My mom in particular. She worked so hard to give us all opportunities and sacrificed. And we know what that means from a mom's perspective. We all do. Y'all know that very well. Y'all went through it too. To see her so proud, she getting calls from her friends. That's valuable to me. That's priceless. So those would be the ones.
She said, just keep it. She called me the other day. Your mom did. She said, could you tell my boy when you talk to him, make sure that he don't have none of them nude scenes in this? So
I had to prep her for them nude scenes now. So hold on, I'm going to tell you a quick story about that. So my wife has been telling me for months, when you going to tell your mama? My mama African now. So we don't talk about stuff like that, right? We never. So I hit her with it about a week before the series came out. I said, well, Mom, I just want to let you know it's going to be a little bit of skin. It's going to be just a little bit of skin. That's all I told her, though. Just a little bit. Honestly, I didn't know how much skin it was going to be in it until I saw the whole joint. I'm like, whoa, dang. But, my wife said, look, I'm glad you told her. Mom cool with it now, though. She proud. She used to it now. Going into episode 10.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like, Mama,
it only took her 10 episodes, huh?
Right. It was just my elbow. That's all it was.
I said, Mom, we had to do it because it added to the story.
Well, man, look, I got one last question to ask you, man. It's been a blast. It's been inspirational having you on this show, man. I mean, one of my favorite guests now. I mean, like, for real. Like, one of my favorite guests, man.
Without a doubt.
And I got this one last question to ask you, man. What's the next chapter in Newton Mayenge's Hoop Dream?
That's an amazing way to say that. What's the next chapter in my hoop dream? Well, something, once this ride is over with winning time, I want to. Everything is always about inspiring folks, right? So, I would love to get some projects that inspire people. I plan on doing some more speaking to organizations and groups on following your dreams. No matter what, though, no matter what the situation is, I don't care I don't care how grimy it is. I don't care what you're dealing with, because tomorrow's gonna come anyway. 6 months gonna come anyway. Next year gonna come
That's
anyway.
right.
Yep.
Then you're gonna still have that dream. Now, where are you gonna be at within that time frame as those times go by? Are you gonna be steps closer, or are you still gonna be thinking about it and dreaming about it? So that's one thing I want to do. And whatever role I'm blessed to come up with next is always gonna be a blessing, brother. That's how I look at it.
I'm the gold of my era. I've been a trending topic. I'm as fly as a feather. My pocket's macroscopic. See, with time I get better. I'm always in the action, kid. Know I got it locked from Chicago where the toughest live. Concrete jungle, earn my stripes on the pavement there. You make it here, then you can make it anywhere. No comparison. Your game is embarrassing. No one can touch me. I'm all for going there again. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me.
Hoop Dreams the podcast, an Unlearning Network production. Written and produced by Arthur Agee, Will Gates, Matt Hoffar, with audio engineering from Matt Savage. For more episodes, check us out at www.unlearningnetwork.com.
Gotta be a dog to survive in this cold weather. Ice in my veins, no need for a warm sweater. I'm coming for it all, best believe I won't let up, yeah. Hey, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me.